Hey, welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Walking the Path with Friends with Frank Elaridi.
Ooh, I'm friends.
You're friends. We're friends. We're friends. So we're doing a special edition. Normally, I know for all of you that are like, where's Christian Minson? He's taking a Thanksgiving break. And so we decided that we were going to do this together.
We're hijacking Christian's.
You're going to be really happy with this. Trust me. It's going to be awesome. So I'm super excited to welcome Frank and talk a little bit more about this week at Rythmia and what's been going on. So without further ado, as more folks are joining us, we're super happy that you're here on this Thanksgiving weekend, Black Friday, all sorts of crazy things going on up in the States. But it's not Black Friday in Costa Rica.
Yeah, but you can still get it online.
You can. You can still get it online.
Getting all the messages.
So if you're normally tuning into Christian Minson at this time and you're wondering what Walking the Path is about, Walking the Path is an exploration of principle and practice. So what is the spiritual principle and how do we bring that into our lives? Because the intention of every practice, whether it's yoga or exercise or meditation or qigong or ceremony, is to bring the insights and revelations that we receive in life or in our practice to our daily lives. How do I bring my peaceful meditation out? Hey, Jody. Hey, Erica, Lynn, Stafford. Great to see you. Happy Thanksgiving. So how do we bring this in to our regular lives, to our everyday lives? How do I bring the peace that I feel in meditation? How do I bring the insights and revelations that I received in ceremony into my life? And so, Jason, hey, brother, good to see you. So here we are. And I want to really, if you don't know who Frank Elaridi is, he's an amazing, so grateful to get to know you this week.
Me too.
We've met
Thank
before,
you. Yeah.
but didn't have a chance to meet in the way that we did. And this guy's got it going on. He's really amazing. If you have a YouTube,
I have a YouTube channel. Yeah.
So tell us about what you're doing in life, in your YouTube channel, and kind of what it's about and how people can find out about you.
Sure. Yeah. So I am by trade I'm an Emmy award-winning journalist.
3 Emmys.
Four, but who's counting?
He's like 4. Pretty impressive.
4 Emmys. So, but I'm a TV journalist, and oh cool, good evening from Romania and Mexico. That's my job, and I go all over the world covering stories, mostly for ABC News. But in my personal life, I'm really passionate about biohacking and spirituality, and so I created a YouTube channel where people could just kind of follow me on my journey, whether it's in India or Brazil to see John of God, or places like here, Costa Rica for Rythmia and for plant medicine. And that channel is just Frank Elaridi. It's my full name. And it's only been a few years, but it's gotten up to 30 million views now. So I think people are resonating with.
We exceed that on our little Facebook Live.
I'm sure. In no time.
No. It's really impressive.
In no time. Yeah. So that journey brought me here to Rythmia.
And this has been a really unique journey for you
at
Rythmia, because Rythmia is a medically licensed plant medicine facility, and so there are some things that because we have a relationship with the Costa Rican Ministry of Health that that wouldn't be an issue with other places that are an issue here. So for different reasons, Frank had the opportunity to be here and enjoy all the other healing modalities, but not actually take plant medicine. So other healing modalities that we have here are breathwork, which is super important. Breathwork, meditation, yoga, colonics, mud baths, hot
massage. I just got out of a massage right now. Incredible food. The food itself is healing.
Yes, organic, farm-to-table food, a beautiful, energetic environment.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then iguanas and monkeys and the beach and
so
bike
beautiful.
rides and all of those, and the classes. So Frank was one of our thought leaders this week. We had, as you know, Ben Decker and Jen Sedini and Jordan River and Frank. And so we presented its LGBTQ week here at Rythmia. It's a super inclusive week. We have all sorts of people who don't identify with any of those letters.
But they're allies.
But they're absolutely.
Yeah, it's really cool.
So it's LGBTQA.
Yeah.
With our allies.
Yeah. And a lot of people, it's so interesting, wanted to know more, and they wanted to learn. And we took the opportunity to use this week and make it not so much about just LGBTQ, but about masculine and feminine energies and how to balance that. And the plant medicine really helps you do that too, because it breaks away the constructs that you've created your whole life of good, bad, male, female, gay, straight, masculine, feminine. Just breaks it all down.
Yeah.
And it forces you to take a look at who you really are. And so we really use the opportunity to talk a lot about balancing your masculine and feminine energies. And, you know, when you look at the greatest saints in the world and you look at a photo of them, it sometimes blends the line between man and woman. I mean, take Jesus Christ or Paramahansa Yogananda. You look at a photo and it's very feminine and very masculine at the same time.
You know what else? That's really cool. I was just reading today about like all the medieval artists that would paint halos. Like the idea of a halo is this symbol of a consciousness, of a Christ consciousness, right? Of a consciousness of illumination.
Yeah.
A consciousness of awakening. And so you see, as you said, the sages of the ages who are beyond a masculine or feminine. It's a consciousness that has neither that isn't a genetic expression or a biological expression rather, but is an expression of energy. As at the beginning, right, in the esoteric or hermetic teachings, there was oneness. In the Big Bang Theory, it's, you know, that point of condensed energy. But in the Eso or hermetic teachings, this is pre-Egyptian, there's oneness, and then oneness decides what else can I become, and it becomes two, and there's duality.
Yeah.
And so now that's the masculine and feminine, and then the two merge into a third, which is the third dimension of observation of the two. Now there's a self-awareness of the two dualities, and then we move into the fourth dimension, and it goes on.
And it goes on and on.
This idea of the non-binary aspect of oneness in terms of our masculine or feminine expression biologically, and how that outplays for in the picturing of those who have the Christ consciousness, the Buddha consciousness, the Kuan Yin consciousness, Lao Tzu consciousness, the consciousness of the awakened awareness of the singularity of all of life.
Yeah, and a lot of people connect with that here. Jordan, who created Spirit Science, is here also this week, and he and I both had very profound experiences the first night where we really connected with Christ consciousness and we're just receiving these downloads. So that is something that, you know, you open up to when you're in ceremony.
And tell me about, you know, Frank had a really amazing experience with working with other plant medicines that weren't ayahuasca.
So ayahuasca is a feminine energy, right? It's mother ayahuasca. It's very motherly. And then there are masculine energies as well. So I worked with 3 of them this week. The most simple of them is the fire. So fire is like a grandfather energy, right? Grandfather fire. And so you stare into the fire, you meditate, it's very meditative, and you give the fire everything that you no longer want to hold on to, all the things that are burdening you. If you're really, because I realized, I'm like, of course I want to give it away, because the shaman was like, well, you have to 100% be willing to give it away. And what they mean by that is subconsciously, there's a part of you that might be holding on to it and attached to it. So instead of just saying, please take this from me, I said, please take my attachment from it. You know, please help me release my attachment to these things. And another thing that I did was a lot of rape. And rape is a kind of tobacco, but it's so sacred. And some of them, like the cacao one, for example, it takes 2 years for them to make. I don't know if you knew that, but they boil it, or they let it brew in cacao, for example, for 2 years. Then they take it out, dry it, you know, smash it into a powder, and then dry it and smash it into a powder again. It's very intricate. But when you take it, it's extremely grounding. It just immediately like centers you. And so I worked a lot with that, like probably triple what I would normally take in a ceremony, because I wasn't drinking the medicine. And then the third thing was Mapocho, which is like a kind of a cigarette, more of a cigar, because you don't inhale it. You just go, and you're like putting out the prayer that you want, and you're cleaning your auric field, kind of like saging. And so I was working with these 3 different kinds of very masculine energies, the Mapocho, the rape, and the fire. And I had a very profound experience. And it's so funny that you can come here and not drink and still get your miracle and still, right?
Oh my God, we had a lady who came with her fiance.
Yeah.
And he wanted her to drink, medicine, and she did not want to drink medicine. And he even said to me today, he came in for a treatment and came in and said, I got out of ceremony Wednesday night, and she had her bags packed and bought a plane ticket and said, you're taking me to the airport right now. And he talked to her, and she ended up staying. And then today, that was Thursday morning, right, early morning, 4 o'clock in the morning on Thursday. I saw her at lunch today, and she's like, I got my miracle.
What?
She didn't drink at all, right? This place.
Are you serious?
I swear to
I
God.
know who you're talking about. And wow.
I know.
All I know is this morning, because I know who you're talking about. This morning, she said she couldn't wait for breath work tonight. Because he wanted to go to the beach. And she's like, okay, but we have to be back by 5. There's breath work. And I'm like, what? Yeah. This is somebody who didn't participate at all in anything.
Didn't want to be a part of it.
Wow.
So it's just the energy here. Like, this is a sacred place. There's been over we're almost at 7,000. It's like 6,500 people have been here so far. That's 6,500 people. 97% of them have received a life-changing miracle. And that energy of releasing, it has created a portal. This place is an energetic field. That when you walk into this energetic field, transformation is going to occur.
And that's why I went to ceremony anyway, 2 of the 4 nights, not drinking, because I knew that just being in that space, a healing would be taking place.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
Oh, wow.
I want to acknowledge you for doing that, because a lot of people say, it's a frequent piece. We have a very typical thing in any retreat, right? There's that arc where it's like, oh, this is really cool, I'm really excited, and then like halfway through you're like, I don't know if this is really for me. I went to Joe Dispenza, right?
Yeah, I remember,
right? Same thing. I've been studying. I did like 36 hours of coursework before to get approved to go to this advanced retreat, and then we had to take a little test. It wasn't a huge test, but you still had to take a test, and if you didn't pass the test, they wouldn't let you go.
Whoa.
So I did all that, and I got there, and like halfway through, I was like, yeah, I mean, I guess I'm glad I came. But, I was totally one of our participants, right? I was able to observe myself that I was doing that same thing. I probably wouldn't come back. Yeah, I mean, I'm getting something, but it's not. I don't know if it's really worth it. And by the end of the week, I was like, oh my God, I love this practice. And that's how people are here. By Wednesday, people are like, yeah, just like the lady. She was on the same arc, the same energetic pattern as everybody else. Wednesday, she's like, yeah, I'm ready to go. Something had her stay, and now Friday. Everybody did ceremony last night. It was a full night ceremony, all night. So they're getting out of ceremony at 9 in the morning.
Yeah. And
you went for the cleansing and the healing.
I got there around 6 a.m. when they were doing the cleansing part. So even though I couldn't participate, I wanted to get the cleansing, and it's a beautiful thing. I actually have a YouTube video from my last visit here at Rythmia where I did drink the medicine. And you see in that video because Leo did a cleansing for me on camera, and it's a beautiful, beautiful ceremony. It's very healing.
It's like a car wash for your soul.
Yeah,
like you've got 3
branches and
working the Waira and the Shindu and the Waira and all of the
drink. I don't know what it is that they drink, and then they go, then they blow it on you, and it's just like, whew.
It's an energetic cleansing.
It's
agua de Florida.
Florida water, basically. Yeah, okay.
And they have a special mix that they use.
You see the leaves in it.
Right. Yeah. They use sacred, like all of the herbs, all of these plant medicines, whether it's rape. And I'm seeing Alyssa's like, rape lover right here.
Oh, me too.
And Estella's, Rythmia is calling you. And I mean, it's true.
Yeah.
There's a calling, and answer that call as it comes to you.
And speaking of a calling, there's this thing that we all share here, people who come here, where we just know what you're talking about when you're like, did you get the call? Like, you got the call. But also, there's no accident with the group that you end up here with.
It's true.
It's really a soul family. And then people start recognizing each other, and you're like, oh, I know why you're here with me and why you sat next to me, on the beds, because there's beds laid out. It's just like so obvious why you're here with those people.
And a very frequent thing is you're like, do I know you?
Yeah.
Where do I know you from?
Past life stuff.
There's something like, our souls know each other.
Yeah.
And it's this very clear awareness. So you came to ceremony. You had other plant medicines, but not ayahuasca. And tell me about your journey and your awakening and your.
All right. Well, actually, I have to tell a really, really interesting story.
Okay.
I would love your take on it. You guys, I hope you're ready. Sit down, get your ginger tea.
Fresh ginger tea.
Because it is, fresh ginger tea. It's a crazy story. So All right, I'm working with these very masculine energies, right? Toward the end of ceremony, on Women's Night, which is an incredible night, they're playing bowls and everybody's dancing. It's incredible. On that night, because I wasn't drinking, the shaman gave me permission to leave, and I was escorted to my room. Right, like this is like when there's a couple of hours left of ceremony, and I was getting restless. At that point, I had gotten so much from my meditations, but I just had to be in my space. So Brad, who's incredible, says, "Hey, I'll walk with you." So he walks me, and he's like, "What path do you normally take to your room?" And I said, "If I'm with Jordan, we cut through the grass, and if I'm by myself, I take the walkway, the path, that's the paved road." And he says, "Yeah, let's take the paved road because there's critters and stuff." And he says, "It is Costa Rica. I've never seen a snake, but there are snakes. I've never seen a snake. Jordan he's on his 28th ceremony, never has seen a snake here, but it is the jungle. It's always possible." So but why would he tell me that in that moment? I don't know. But he says it, and his eyes are wide, and he's like, it is Costa Rica, and it's nighttime, and we can't see. We should probably take the path. Like, okay. So then he leaves me, and I'm walking the rest of the way by myself. And normally, as I'm walking, because the stars here are more beautiful than anywhere I've been, so I'm always looking up at the stars as I walk back to my room. And this time, I am looking at the floor because he just told me that it's possible there are snakes. So I'm like looking at the floor the whole way, swear to God, right in the middle of the path. I haven't told you this. The path is like this, right in the middle, a snake. And it was going like this, turning on itself, just going like this, like, Oh. And what do? Run the other way. I ran so fast, and I was like, "You guys, there's a snake, there's a snake." And they came and checked, and it was gone. There was nothing there. But it was not a poison snake or anything. It was like one of the gray ones that are just totally safe. But it's like turning on itself like that. And I was like, "Oh my God, is Mother Ayahuasca mad at me for leaving the ceremony and for not drinking?" And so I really legit thought that she was mad at me and like scaring me. But what I realized going back to my room and researching the meaning of a snake, very specifically, the meaning of a snake, a live snake on your path, is transformation and healing and rebirth. And that's exactly what I was asking for. Remember when I was talking to you earlier about my YouTube channel and this new direction that I'm going and it's scary? Rebirth, transformation. And all day with the rape, my only intention was healing. And the healing power of the snake is what I saw. And so I told
so cool.
the lady from Finland, what's her name who I love, short hair? Maiku. Love her. Love both of them.
Ingela and Maiku.
And I think it was Ingela that said to me, she was like, she works a lot with animals and speaking to animals. And she said, "Wow, you're so lucky. What more could you ask for? Mother Ayahuasca showed herself to you. She revealed herself to you in the flesh."
Yes. Well, okay. Can I?
I want your insight now. Yeah.
So there is a tradition, and this is coming from a book by Jeremy Narby called "The Cosmic Serpent."
Yeah.
DNA and origin.
Kundalini, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, so there's Kundalini rising, which when you think of the medical sign, the two snakes wrapped around, and there's a crown on top of that, right? That's the pineal gland, and the cross is the energetic body, the axis mundi, our energetic spinal column represents the axis of the world, right? We are literally connected and tethered to the world. Yeah. And our arms, so the cross, the Kundalini rising to the pineal gland, and that's the DMT in the pineal gland. But the snake has been in Mexico. If the sign on the Mexican flag is an eagle with a snake, and they knew where in the Aztec tradition they knew where to build Mexico City because they saw a snake eating its tail, which is the sign of rebirth. The circle, a snake eating its tail, is the sign of rebirth and regeneration and of eternality because it's creating of itself, out of itself, without depleting itself.
Wait, what happens when it eats its tail?
Well, it's the sign. So when you see that in cave drawings, so this sign is not only in Mexico, but it's throughout South America. It's in Aboriginal Australia. It's in Siberia. I mean, like everywhere around. So, and Jeremy Narby is an anthropologist. I think from Sweden. I can't remember, but he's an anthropologist. The book is really cool. And then what he equates that to, the snake also is like the sign of if you look at electron microscope photos of our chromosomes, They're snake-like.
Wow.
It's like two snakes crossing each other, like the Kundalini. And there are all these cave drawings throughout Europe, South America, Australia, with the snakes and these drawings. And he would take the photograph of the electron microscope and superimpose it over the ancient cave drawings, and they look identical.
Wow.
And so this idea of rebirth and regeneration, which was your exact intention, and the symbolism of the snakes.
Exact intention.
And ayahuasca is a snake.
Yeah.
Ayahuasca is a snake, and it's the sign of rebirth. It's shedding its skin. And for snakes have always been feminine. It wasn't until a kind of misinterpretation through the Bible of the snake being evil or something of a lower vibratory frequency. In indigenous cultures for millennia, the snake has been a sacred symbol of the feminine because it's regenerating, and a sacred symbol of transformation. So it's always been a pure symbol, nothing to be disparaged. So really beautiful that you had that symbol. And like, look, we can walk through life, right, with the interpretation. When the master teacher Jesus says, I love this phrase, and I've said it before, when the master teacher Jesus said, tarry not with appearances, he's not saying that appearances aren't real, but that the reality or unreality of our appearances lies in our interpretation of them. So you can walk by that and say, I just saw a snake and it means nothing.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's fine. That's fine. But how do you want to walk in the world? Because it's all interpretation. Even the way that our eyes, for example, I'm really going off on this. So
No, I love it. Yeah.
But the moon is also a big piece for us here at Rythmia, because Jerry's conversations with the moon.
Yeah.
But do you know why the moon appears larger when it's on the horizon versus when it's in the sky? It's a complete aspect of our own biological interpretation. So our eyes are constantly putting pieces together in what we're seeing. It's the same thing when you're looking for something in the store and you can't find it, and it's been there the whole time. It's all
right in front of you.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's what information are we receiving and processing? How are we interpreting it biologically or intellectually? So the moon is closer at the horizon because our eyes have something to compare it to and give it some perspective. When the moon's in the sky, there's less perspective, so it looks smaller. The moon's the same size.
Right?
It's just our interpretation of it. So we're always already interpreting. So how would you like to walk through life? Einstein says either everything's a miracle or nothing's a miracle. So we're going to call that a miracle, right? We can say it's not, and that's fine. But if it's all interpretation anyway, I'm going to choose the empowering interpretation.
Totally, absolutely.
So that was a sign of rebirth and regeneration and renewal, absolutely.
Yeah, there was that jerk reaction of the conditioning of snake run. And then there was like, wait, let me think of what this means. What is Mother Ayahuasca telling me? Mother Ayahuasca is a snake. And what were my intentions today? Healing and transformation. What does a snake mean spiritually? Healing and rebirth and transformation. So yeah, I mean, it's just a
serendipity, synchronicity.
Yeah, it's a good way to look at it.
I had something and I lost it. Anyway,
sorry.
No. This is so rich. I'm sorry we're bouncing this around because I'm hitting the table.
We're excited.
I know, really. But I want to just acknowledge Jason saying that your wife was here at Rythmia and couldn't keep the medicine down for more than 20 minutes, but got her miracle. Like this is a powerful place of transformation and of healing. So much healing and transformation.
Oh, the stories also. And you know, another thing. Having not taken the medicine, I'm like talking to other people about their journey and their story, and I'm learning. It's like I can take the lessons from their experience, even if it doesn't, like my life is completely different from what they're going through. The lesson is the same of how to get your power back, how to let go of something you're holding on to. Like I'm learning from hearing about their experiences.
I remember what I was going to say.
Okay.
So remember you said you were reactive when you saw the snake.
Yeah.
You ran away.
Yeah.
So one of the things I'm working with personally, my growing edge, is being less reactive and more responsive. And so I'm noticing in everything that I do, when we talked about in the beginning, how do you take your practice into your life? So for example, I noticed in life that I'm very reactive. Like somebody says something and I can get offended like that, 0 to 60, like, and I notice it, and then it's too late, right? How do I be more responsive? And so I began noticing how in my physical life, my physical interaction with life itself, how reactive I am. And so if a bee lands on me or a spider, I'm just like such a wimp about it. Or a snake, I'm out of here. when I'm learning to do a handstand, right? And so I'm now up against the wall. First, you're against the wall, facing the wall,
Right.
with your back to the wall.
Back to the wall.
And now I'm learning to do it with my front to the wall, so my back is right, because that's the fear, right? So I immediately, the minute I think I'm gonna fall, I immediately get out of the position. And if I can just calm my breathing for a minute and see what's available in that moment, I can stay longer in that handstand.
Yeah.
And the longer I can stay in that uncomfort, the longer I can stay in the unknown, the more comfortable I begin to be with the unknown.
Yeah.
I become less reactive. My practice in my physical practice is now informing my mental practice and my spiritual practice. Can I breathe for just a few moments? Can I see what's available before I react? Because that, that snake was a sign that was a blessing. A particular kind of bug landing on me could be a blessing, could be a symbol of something. Am I going to quickly rush it away because it's unknown or uncomfortable? Or can I be with it for just a minute? And how often am I that way in life?
Yeah.
With people, with situations, with things that are new to me? How often do I close myself off from possibility because I'm overreactive?
Yeah, A Course in Miracles says that everything is a decision out of love or fear, or every action is either out of love or fear. So, running or smacking away, that's always a fear reaction. And deciding to hold that handstand or to, embrace the bug that came onto you and look for the meaning, that's a decision out of love.
Okay, now, there is a really good biological reason to run sometimes, right? Like if you're coming around a corner and you hear the growling of a large tiger, I'm not gonna, there's a loving
we're
reaction.
still in this world. We still live in this world.
Right.
And the reactive is a defense mechanism. And if you're living in this world, you have to have it.
But exactly.
Yeah.
So the difference is, can I, because we are not just our amygdala, we're not just our reptilian brain, because I'm not just that. Can I be more self-reflexive? I have the power to think about what I'm thinking about. So in that moment, I can stop and think, is that danger, right? Maybe I don't know if that's a poisonous snake or not. Am I going to pick it up? No, but can I be with it for a minute? Or if I hear that growl around the corner, do I want to go and trust and see if that mother mountain lion is going to attack me with me approaching her cub or not? So there's very good reason, but when we can think about what we're thinking about, but to do that, it requires a level of self-awareness. Yeah. It requires that we are anchoring ourselves in the observer consciousness. And it is and remember we were talking earlier about consciousness as oneness, and then it wonders, what else can I become? Yeah. And it sees itself as itself, separate from itself, but still whole. And then there's the observer, observing the duality, right? So when we can move into the observer consciousness, when we can become a little bit more aware of what we're thinking about, we gain power. We gain power to become more responsive and less reactive. Yeah. So that's example. Look how rich your example is. Oh,
it made my entire week.
What a beautiful example.
I've already had an incredible week, but that kind of solidified it all. Yeah.
Tell me some more. Was there more insight and revelation?
There's just the first night especially, there was just a lot of. And I almost don't even remember it because I didn't write it down, or I usually just believe that it sticks with you, it's subconsciously it's with you. But there was a lot of on the first night especially, I understood what I call the holy instant. How everything is happening right now in this moment, because I was having this conversation with Christ consciousness in my head. Not we're not talking to each other, just download, thought. And what this consciousness was saying to me is, the reason why I love you so much and why I'm not worried about you or whatever it is because I know how this ends. I know how it began. I know who you were in your past life, who you will be in your next life. I know it all and I see it all because it all is happening in this exact second right now, this holy instant. Yes. You know what I mean? I understood all of a sudden what it means when they say there's only the now, be in the now, because all of it is literally happening at the same time. It's all now,
So I love that. and Panache Desai gave me a great example of that, and I love this example, and we'll kind of wrap it up after this because I think it's such a perfect place to end. But the holy now, the infinite, the present moment, when we can anchor into ourselves in the present moment, we come to this now moment, and this now moment is the gateway to the eternal now.
Oh,
And how do we understand that it's all happening now? This example has really resonated.
Because to understand it logically is different from that experience that I had, knowing it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and for me, who is the rational Virgo very much in my head, I access those moments through the intellect, an intellectual understanding, right? So this really helped me.
Yeah.
So for those of you who might be like, what the fuck, holy now? So imagine you're on the ground in a hurricane and there's chaos, right? It's a chaotic moment. Everything's crazy and the wind is blowing and there's stuff flying by and it's chaos and people are trying to flee, chaotic. And now you're in an airplane, 30,000 feet, and you can begin to see, even though the wind's blowing and you're seeing all this stuff, but you can begin to see some order. Right, you can see the houses are in rows, and you can see the grid of the city.
Yeah.
Right, and then you're in a satellite, and now you're seeing the beauty of this pearl of a planet, this blue pearl, and you start to see the harmony of the swirl of the system, right? This beautiful white system swirling in this blue pearl and the continents, right? So no matter, it's all happening now.
Yeah.
Chaos, order, harmony.
Yeah.
So no matter what the appearance is, order and harmony are seeking to emerge, and they're all happening at the same time.
Yeah.
I loved that example.
I love that idea. Yeah.
So thank you, Panache Desai.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
And thank you all. Thank you, Frank.
Yes, thank you. Thanks for allowing me to be here.
What a
to
pleasure.
Share.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if anybody here, speaking of Holy Instant, if anybody is like considering coming or will come in the future, you've already come, basically. Like that's what the Holy Instant is. You've already been here. It's already done. Yeah, it's already done.
So catch up with your soul.
Yeah.
Bring it into this current experience of reality. Thank you so much. It is a pleasure to walk the path with friends.
Yeah.
Glad to call you my friend.
Thank you. Same.
My pleasure. And peace and richest blessings. We will see you next Thursday at 11 o'clock Pacific time. Thank you so much. Ciao.